Well, Eskom has blamed illegal strikes at 3 of its power stations for the latest round of power cuts, which it says have caused delays to planned maintenance and repairs. The National Union of Mineworkers is pushing back, denying it's responsible, and has instead launched a scathing attack on Eskom CEO Andre Ruyter. NUM says Ruyter has misled the nation on the real reasons why the country experienced stage 6 rolling blackouts this week. It is now, however, taking a revised offer from Eskom to its members and hopes abound for a resolution come Tuesday. What is the position of the unions now in this highly charged atmosphere? Livhuwani Mamburu is NUM's spokesperson and joins me now. Good evening, Livhuwani, and welcome. There's a revised offer, we understand, on the table. Can you share what it entails?
Yeah, definitely, Iman. There's a revised offer after Eskom has presented a new offer yesterday of 7% across the board. And when it comes to the conditions of service that Eskom unilaterally changed last year, they have reversed that decision that they took to unilaterally change the conditions of service. The other key demand was the housing allowance. So Eskom gave us 400 rand. So those are some of the key demands that made us to take the offer to our members. The other key demand that Eskom did not agree with us is the issue of income differentials or the apartheid wage gap. You still find a situation at Eskom where white employees are earning more money than black employees, and that has caused so much anger at Eskom. So right. What is happening?
I mean, do you have the recourse? I'm so sorry to interject you there, Livhuwani. Do you have the recourse to go to the Labour Court, to go to the CCMA and raise those specific issues around the wage gap, for example?
No, definitely. Those are some of the issues. That's what we are planning to do. But this issue of wage gap, Iman, was raised with Eskom 8 years ago. And they still haven't addressed it until today. So if I have to continue on what I was saying, Iman, when it comes to us taking the offer to our members, we started with the consultation last night, and on Tuesday morning we will be having a joint shop steward council with NUMSA. Where we will be communicating, shop stewards will be communicating the mandate from the workers as to whether they have accepted the offer or not. Yeah. And at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that is when the central bargaining will start, where the unions will report back the mandate from the workers.
Please, if you can, because there's some other material I want to get through, but how likely, and the nation almost is waiting with bated breath to hear whether that offer will be accepted. Do you believe it's got a good chance of being accepted? I know you can't speak prematurely, but what's your sense?
What I can say, Iman, is that we are positive.
All right. I mean, we've had these interviews before where, one word is just about all you're going to get on that answer. Now, I want to move to this issue. The tide of public opinion has certainly turned against unions in Eskom. You've denied your members are involved in illegal strike action. Well, then, what is your version of workers who are responsible for the escalation in power cuts, as explained by Eskom?
No, that is not true. That is a narrative that is used by Eskom management to suit their objective. There are a lot of issues that are not being addressed at Eskom. I mean, it's not our members who are causing stage 6 of load shedding. There's a situation at Komati power station, Iman, where 8 units out of 9 units have been shut down by Eskom, and that amounts to 1,200 megawatts that have been lost out of the grid. So you go to Hendrina power station, 2 units have been shut down by Eskom, and that amounts to 480 megawatts that have been lost out of the grid. If you put together put together all the units, that have been closed on those two power stations, they amount to 2,000 megawatts that have been lost out of the grid. And if you go to Grootvlei in Balfour in Mpumalanga, the Eskom shut down 3 units and they've refurbished them and they spent millions on them. But those 3 units are ready to be put back into the grid, but Eskom is not doing that while they have spent millions on that.
So this is self-sabotage. What you're suggesting then is self-sabotage.
I don't know why they are closing those units and then Iman. So it can be blamed on workers as if it's the workers who are responsible for stage 6 of load shedding or load shedding that is happening in South Africa, while units in power stations are being closed down. That is a cause of a concern. So that is why we are saying that our members are not responsible for stage 6 of the load shedding. But there are issues, there are serious issues that our members are concerned about that needs to be addressed by the Eskom management.
Okay, so as you say, and perhaps just state for us on the record then, because this is being attributed to wildcat strikes. As we know, in an Eskom scenario, an essential service like that, it is illegal to embark on strike action. You're saying that your members are 100% not involved in strike action, and just to go to what the Minister of Public Service and Public Enterprises said last week, that there were threats and intimidation at those who are resisting striking or Eskom employees. You've got nothing to do with that.
Iman, you know what? We always in touch with our members on the ground. We ask this question to our members if they are responsible for acts of intimidation and violence. Our members said they are not aware of that. So as the NUM, we do not condone any acts of violence or intimidation. And we have asked our members that they must refrain from any acts of violence and or intimidation. I'm not saying that our members are involved in acts of violence or intimidation. You might have seen last month there was a strike of 3 months at Sibanye Stillwater. It was a violent free strike where we were working together with AMCU. So we don't encourage any violence or acts of intimidation while the NUM members are on strike.
Just perhaps to close out, you mentioned all the figures together of the megawatt availability, and that is because some units are shut down. And if Eskom, brings online some of the other units, we can make up for the shortfall. But if I remember, just overnight, over the last 24 hours, we are told as the South African public, we're 2,000 megawatts away from, serious implications and a move to stage 6, and 2,300 megawatts from that point into a stage 8 load shedding event. From your point of view, and your members, of course, are all across the Eskom operation, how much of a threat and a risk is that for us happening?
Iman, like I said to you, our members are not responsible for any load shedding. We've been getting briefing that our members are back at work. Others will be back during the night shift tonight. So our members are normalizing the situation in all power stations after this offer that has been tabled by Eskom yesterday.
But you just said something there. You said they'll be back at work, and that presupposes they were not at work, which you say is not true.
Definitely, there were some challenges in some power stations like Mata and Hendrina.
Well, yeah, I mean, we understand that there are issues there, but when you're saying that they're going back to work, it means that they deliberately did not go to work.
That's what I'm saying, that there were challenges in some power stations where members were not at work, but we got reports that they are going back during the night shift tonight.
Yeah, but it's their legal responsibility to... I'm just trying not to misunderstand what you're saying, Lebewana. These are Eskom employees, NUM or perhaps NUMSA members who were, for one reason or the other, not able to go to both those stations to work because of challenges, you say, but it is their duty and their legal responsibility to have been at work.
No, definitely. Our members, those members in those power stations indicated that they could not go back to work because the wage agreement has not been signed. That's what they told us. So those were the challenges that we're facing, Iman.
Is that not a fancy way of saying strike? So you are actually saying that some of your members did strike at those two plants?
Let me clarify this and put it clear, Iman. As the NUM, we did not sanction any strike. When we found out that our members were picketing around our power stations, we immediately asked for a meeting with the Eskom management so that we can normalize the situation on the ground. That is when Eskom, during those 2 days of meetings this week, decided that they will table off an offer that was presented yesterday.
I don't want us to lose focus. I mean, and I also don't want you to walk back what you have effectively admitted right now, is that some of your members were on strike and they're expected to go back to work in light of this new wage agreement. And if, you know, you're saying this with regard just to 2 units, it could very well be that it's exactly the same with some of the other operations then. So this is in direct conflict with what you said at the very beginning.
No, it's not in direct conflict, Iman. That's what I said to you, that it's true that there were some members who were on strike and the NUM did not sanction that strike. And what I'm trying to tell you now is that once we realized that there were pickets that were happening around the power stations, this is what we attempted to do so that Eskom could come back to the negotiating table, because there were serious issues that needed to be addressed that made workers to pickets around the power stations, like the issue of conditions of services, where our members indicated that and Eskom took a unilateral decision to change the conditions of service. And our members told us that is a deal breaker. And that is what made some of their members not to go back to work until these issues were addressed.
All right. Well, certainly we'll be watching developments closely until Tuesday next week. I think in the afternoon is when you said you would have a decision from the Central Bargaining Committee. NUM spokesperson Livuwana Mamburu there.